Episode 68 of the podcast. How do we get others, our own vet, groomer, or trainer, our owners, our coworkers, managers, bosses, etc., to get on board with taking the time to teach dogs to be calm, comfortable, and cooperative? How can we help to justify what seems like extra steps, extra time, and sometimes a lack of immediate results? How do we help the dog world to give it a try? First, we have to think about why they do the things they do. Let's look at the people. So find out more this week. You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a certified professional dog trainer, and the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. Taking a gentle approach to grooming, vet visits, and home care can seem a bit wishy-washy to some of the more old-school method users. I know that because I was one. I did the old-school method for a long time. There was a time when I had been taught and believed that dogs would learn that there is no point in fighting us, and that some dogs were just stubborn, spoiled, or otherwise unable to catch on, and so they would just need to be restrained to get it done. If we spend some time learning about what others in our field are used to thinking about and understanding the people, we can help them kind of see a different way of doing things. So let's look more into that, because getting it done was considered the most important thing today, right now. It has to happen. It was considered a kindness. The injury risk and difficulty was assumed to be part of the job, because that's what the owners were paying us for. They couldn't do it on their own, and they needed us. They needed our expertise in wrestling their dog into completing today's goal. It was all about getting it done right now. Okay? We wore our injuries like badges of honor. It was a sign of how much we loved even the worst of dogs and would do anything to help them, up to and including getting hurt to help them. So you take pride in being the tech that the vet requests to work with, or the groomer that other groomers ask to restrain dogs for them. I did it for a long time, and I've changed a lot. I don't do it that way anymore, but I'll tell you what, not to toot my own horn, I was excellent at it. I know how to force it and get it done. I just don't think that with what I know about behavior change, it's the way we should be doing it. So what changed for me, and what is likely changing for you as listeners, and what I'd like to have change in the dog world in general, is that we know so much more about how animals learn, right? We know that we can teach them to be safe. We know that we can teach them to be good, to be willing, and to be ready. You know what it is. You know what it's coming. Calm, comfortable, and cooperative, right? We know we can teach that. And there was a time when we didn't know that. So we forced things in a way that now I look back and think we weren't really helping ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that that's all old school because it's in the past, because many, many, many people are still doing things that way. And honestly, they're just making life harder for themselves. I don't want to make judgment calls about people who are doing things differently as much as it's about, well, try it this way. Doesn't this make a lot of sense? To teach them to be good for it, and then you have a lifetime of a dog who's going to be better for it, right? Like, put in the time now, less time later. So for many years of forcing dogs and not seeing anything get better, that seemed wrong, right? And as I learned more about training, I learned that we have some solutions. Seeing dogs fight with us for their entire life is wrong if we know there's a solution. Seeing older dogs who are having health problems and were more fragile being handled in this kind of get-it-done mindset seemed poorly thought out, because I know now that we have some solutions. So as training and teaching and working with animals changed, my grooming and vet tech work changed with it. Teaching dogs to be good is possible, and not nearly as difficult as we once thought it was. I remember thinking that, well, it's going to take so long, and how is a trainer going to help with that? Because training classes are just walking around on a leash and sits and stays and downs. But there are so many different types of trainers out there now. There are so many different ways for us to work on a behavior, and there is so much information out there. But also, if we spend the time working on it, a well-behaved dog is a safe dog. Fighting with dogs risks injury to them and to us. And us being owners, groomers, trainers, vets, vet techs, and any other dog pro, or anybody caught in the middle, you know? But it does require a shift in thinking. And in the training world, we have a term called crossover trainer, which basically means someone who started using more punishment-based, force-based methods, and that at some point switched to more science-based, reinforcement-based, proactive kind of methods. So what I mean by that, right? In the mid-'80s, when I started working with dogs, it was a lot of choke collars, a little bit of prong collars. Prongs weren't really super popular yet, but they started to be a little bit later. Working at like strict heel work, lots of punishment, lots of kind of forcing it to happen, right? And then slowly switching over to a more modern method where we're using things like treats, talking to your dog and hanging out with your dog and finding out what makes them tick, right? It's not just about changing a method. It's really a mindset. The crossover trainer means that that's somebody who looked at new evidence and chose to change the way they do things. And some of us have crossed over a number of times because we had a method that we, like, for instance, I became a clicker trainer back in the mid-'90s and then a SATS trainer later on after that, probably in about 2005. So like about 10 years of choke collars, 10 years of clickers, over 10 of SATs, right? But I want you to think about, like, that's another crossover. It's a, am I willing to shake up what I thought I was doing was right and just look at new evidence and give it a try? And it takes somebody kind of brave. And we can't vilify anybody who's using a method that we don't use because they're not going to listen. If someone told me, you're being mean with that choke collar, I know I'm not being mean. Right? I knew what I was doing. I'm not being mean. I need to teach this dog to do something. That wouldn't have reached my mind the same way as someone saying, hey, try this new thing. How about you try it this way? Or I saw something that works this way. Right? We should be inspiring others to give it a try. So when we talk about the mindset of it's got to get done, or I can't spend the time working on that, or this is ridiculous, it's all wishy-washy, why are you guys doing that? Some dogs just can't be taught. What are you going to do? I mean, how long is it going to take? We just need to help them understand, like, you know what? Hey, let me show you what I've had success with. Because we need to think about the person who's resisting it. The person, right? That's another colleague. That's another professional, another person, and they're resisting because they don't understand why it would help. So instead of worrying about if I can convince them to try it, right? Sometimes just leading the way, like, look how easy I made it look. Because that happened a lot, and that's how I got a lot of people to switch over. Like, you know what? That did seem like I've groomed that dog a number of times, and he was never that good for me. What are you doing over there? Okay, I want you to be thinking about how we can help other professionals to take a closer look and say, I think I can try it. I think I can try it. Because the older method of fighting it out really doesn't work. And if you don't know that there's another way to get it done that's more gradual and pieced together and training to get it done instead of just getting it done today, right? You are thinking that you're being kind. You are thinking you're being humane. You know, you're hurting yourself to get these dogs finished, but you don't need to. I don't want anyone out there hurting themselves or getting dogs hurt to get things done. We don't need to. We don't need to at all. If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes, and tell all of your friends. One of the biggest things that keeps people from trying new methods or trying a different way is this idea that it has to get done now. But does it? Because unless this is an emergency medicine situation, it usually doesn't have to get finished right now. It usually doesn't need to be completed right now. There are times when you're in the middle of something and now we have to bring it back to a safe point to complete it. An example would be like the dog who's covered in shampoo and then starts having an issue. Well, yeah, you're going to need to rinse that dog, but you can spend time in charge for that time trying to help them calm down. And then you can choose if they're able to handle anything else today. Another example of that, you're trimming a nail and maybe you quick one. You do need to get quick stop on that. Right? We can't just oh, never mind, send him home. He's done. Right? There are times when we need to go, all right, well, now we have something else that has to get completed, but we don't need to get a beautiful, gorgeous groom. We just need to complete that piece that needs to be done. So if you're stuck in the school of thought that it needs to get done, it may help you to think, wait a minute, do I really need to? So I'm going to draw a parallel here because I think that many groomers are going to understand this. Hopefully owners and other dog pros too. But when a dog comes in matted, we all lay down the law of what needs to be done, what we will or will not do, and we don't put pretty trims over mats. Pretty much standard across the board. That's when our owners get some tough love, right? You can go home, you can brush them out and bring them in if you want a beautiful trim. You can let me brush them out and we'll just do it in stages and it's going to cost you X amount of dollars, right? But to draw that parallel to behavior problems, we need to lay down the law, what needs to be done, what you will or will not do, and we don't put pretty trims over behavior problems. Owners who don't take care of their dog's coat don't always get what they want. And owners who don't take care of their dog's training needs don't always get what they want. Right? Draw that parallel and be ready to approach it with the same approach you have with other aspects of grooming, because it doesn't need to get anybody hurt, right? We've all heard the humanity over vanity. Groomers are ready to embrace that for matted coats. We need to be ready to embrace that for behavior problems, because what's in the best interest for the dog with a matted coat is what's best for their skin. What's in the best interest for the dog with the behavior problem is what's going on in their brain. And those things are important. So humanity over vanity, right? But I want you to think that owners who bring in a matted mess, thinking that clipping it all down should be cheap to do, don't get the same price as everyone else. At least I hope not. I hope you're not taking a dog who is, super, super great, in great condition, and charging the same haircut price for the dog that comes in a pelted mess, right? Generally, we have to think about, that's not going to be the same price. Owners who bring in a difficult dog, thinking that muzzling the dog and just getting it done should cost the same, yeah, they don't get the same price as everyone else either. More work equals more cost to owners. And being in a get-it-done mindset is letting people take advantage of you. Don't let them take advantage of you. They don't mean to. They just don't understand our industry. They don't understand what's going on, and we can help them understand. Much like we talked about in that first part. We can help them understand, well, of course he can learn to be better for it. And here are some things you can do. And here's where you can go. And this is what needs to get done. Or, this is your choice. This is how we can do things here. Okay? Extra steps and extra time for teaching may seem like a big pain in the butt. And I know that that's what comes up a lot when people are like, I am not going to spend time. I'm just going to get it done. What kind of wishy-washy baloney is this? I'm just going to get this dog's nails done. Just pile another person on it. Just freaking get it done, right? Because they think that spending time teaching is going to be a loss, right? It's a big pain in the butt. The owners aren't going to keep up with it. The owners aren't going to be willing to pay for it. But again, think about that dog with a behavior problem as a dog with a matted coat. You're right. Some owners aren't going to do it. And some of those owners are people that we're going to refuse in the future, right? That if we can't make them happy and we can't do it safely, sorry, right? I don't want to be refusing dogs. I want owners to understand what's going on so that we can help them help themselves. Because having a dog who can be groomed properly and can go to the vet and can have people touch it all over is a really important life skill for the average dog. So we need to help explain it and understand where they're coming from But teaching is important, and it's not a big pain in the butt. It's not a waste of time. I do know that for many of us, I was included in this, the first couple dogs I did this with was just a leap of faith, right? You're not sure if it's going to work. You're like, I don't know, man. Really? Is it really going to work if I just calm down and just do little pieces and, so you have to give it a try. Leap of faith. So if you are listening and you haven't yet done your leap of faith, go ahead, pick one dog then and really think about what you're doing and how you're going to do it. And keep them calm, comfortable, and cooperative, and leap of faith, see what happens. Because you'll start noticing just how much change you can make. And that's what we want. We want the dogs to start changing their behavior. We want them to start thinking, all right, I can handle this. So let me give you another example of dogs that I've worked with. There's one little guy that I work with. I think Jimmy is now 3 years into, we think his heart's going to give out in a month. He has some really significant heart problems. He has a lot of other problems going on. He's often uncomfortable. He's kind of spoiled rotten because they're so worried about this fragile little guy. He's a little Maltese. And when he is upset, he kind of loses it. He isn't thinking anymore. He has a lot of health problems. He's not going to handle it the way a normal, healthy dog would. But because I worked for such a long time teaching him to trust me, teaching him that I'm going to help him calm down, when he gets a little scared, he's not like, with me, he's not like he is with the vet. At the vets, he's like, they're trying to kill me, I got to kill them back. With me, it's more of a, help me calm down. He calibrates down for me. He doesn't try to hurt me. Even if he turns around and does fast air snaps, they're air snaps for me. I'm pretty sure he would really hurt somebody else. For me, they're air snaps. Ideally, we don't get him to that point. But again, that's part of his health issues. And once in a while, it's going to happen. But because I worked hard with him, he lets me do stuff that he doesn't let anybody else do. And when he becomes overwhelmed, because who knows what's going on? Who knows? He has so many health issues. But when he gets overwhelmed, he is not nearly as bad for me as he is for somebody else who just keeps pushing him. Unfortunately, part of his issue is that their vet continues to push. Their vet is seriously old school with the, we got to get it done, just put another person on. And I've tried, but they don't want to hear it. So he kind of gets untrained in between grooming sessions. But his responses for me are better than he is for anybody else. So when we work on stuff, even for a dog who has everything stacked against him, it was worth my time. It continues to be worth my time. And those owners see what I am doing and understand the value. We have to convince people that there is a reason why we're doing it. There's a reason. Because otherwise they're like, what? Who cares if you stress them out? It's what? Once every 6 months, Hopefully grooming isn't once every 6 months, but we have to help people understand that there's a reason to teach them to be good. It's possible to teach them to be good. We're insisting that we groom nice dogs. We take care of nice, well-behaved, well-adjusted dogs. That as a vet tech, unless it's an emergency situation, many vets are telling people, you know what, I've tried to lead you to trainers and stuff, but I'm not going to continue treating your dog because this is out of control. This isn't safe. Would you like that trainer's referral again? And I hear it more and more. So we need to help people get the answers and the solutions. And if they don't want to take them, they have to take some responsibility for their own pet. Sadly, it's true. You gotta train your dog. But letting them know it's possible give them a couple stories, right? Hey, this dog had a lot of problems and now he's good for me. My average customer is a breeze, even if they came to me as a really, really difficult case. They're a breeze because I just take my time with it and work on it and have my owners set up to understand why, how, and what it's going to cost, because it's not free. I'm not giving away my time. So don't think about it as a waste of time. It might be something you choose not to do, just like you choose to not do hand stripping, right? It might be something that you say, this isn't what I want to do at all, but you charge for it if you have to do it. And again, draw that parallel that this is something that is a lot like matting, right? So our action step for this week, I want you to think about this. Humanity over vanity. We don't put pretty trims over matted coats, and we don't put pretty trims over behavior problems. And that'll help people to understand that we need to address the underlying issue. If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy@happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group, Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast, or the Facebook page, Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you. If you're ready to go beyond the podcast, and I hope you do, I've made it really easy for you. If you go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step, you'll see all of the options. There's the Scholar Lounge community, there's the Modern Grooming Professional certification, there's Master Canine Stylist and Professional Canine Stylist diploma testings, there's the Behavior Lab for coaching and private one-on-one sessions with me, and of course the Master Groomer Behavior Specialist program. So go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step.